An entitled mother's demon spawn of a child gets beaten up over hurting an animal. This happened many years ago when I was 11 or 12. Back then, I had a whole gang of friends in the neighborhood. Not a literal gang, just an active group of friends. We would all play outside whenever we could. Most of the members were slightly younger than me, but the younger sister of one of my friends was also present, which we were fine with, and we all considered her a younger sister, as we had all been playing together outside for most of our lives. This younger sister also had a cat. There was also a child about the same age as me who we used to play with, but didn't anymore, as he was very short-tempered in general. He started fights a lot, and he threatened us with his air rifle, and had a really big jerk of a mother who would always stick up for him. He still lived in the same neighborhood as us as well, and also knew what time we would go outside to play. Everything started off when my entire group of friends and I decided to go to a nearby park, which was about a 10-minute walk away. We were aware of the fact that the entitled brat who had anger management problems was also there with his mother, but we just resolved to keep our distance and not let him provoke us. When we were almost at the park, we could hear a faint bang sound, but thought nothing of it. We had just climbed up the steps to the park, and we saw something that would absolutely horrify all of us. The entitled brat had my friend's younger sister's cat in its kennel. He had set it down about 20 feet away from him. He was taking pot shots at the kennel with his air rifle. And what was the mother doing, you ask? She was sitting about 40 feet away, in full view of us, on her phone, not even raising her head. Given the title, I think what happens next is pretty self-explanatory. Before I get to it though, I want to clarify that this entitled brat was relatively big for his age, and weighed, I would guess, about 100 pounds or so. However, I studied judo, which is a martial art, and had a blue belt, so I knew I could take him on. I immediately rushed him and didn't want to try and fight him while he had his air rifle, so I disarmed him and threw the rifle to the side. I then threw him down. He, being the entitled brat that he was, started screaming for his mother while I had him in one of the least dangerous holds in judo. The mother, unsurprisingly, sprang towards me and started screaming like crazy. I pulled the entitled brat to his feet and he said, Okay, please stop, I give up," hoping to explain to the entitled mother that he was shooting a poor cat, but he instead immediately attacked me again. This time I wasn't having any of his garbage. I punched him repeatedly, and after he kicked me back and reached for the air rifle, which my friend was holding, I held him in a chokehold without actually choking him, and put my knee into his back, which is a hold that is almost impossible to escape from. Mind you, this whole time the entitled mother was screaming that I was just hurting him, and that she was going to call the cops because I had taken her child's air rifle and was trying to use it against him and the cat, which is ironic to say the least. And even despite this, she was never willing to step in and help her precious darling. I asked her what evidence she would have against me, and she replied with well, I know people at the police department, okay? To be honest, at this point, I was getting scared. Remember, I was only a kid. I let the kid up, but still didn't give back the air rifle. I still found the courage to ask her how she was ever going to beat my evidence about her son doing terrible things to that cat, as all my friends could provide proof. It was at this point that she messed up. She slapped me. I obviously didn't attack her back, but instead we did the slightly cowardly thing, but now what seems like the right thing. We all just grabbed the cat and started running back to my house. However, we didn't even get out of the park, as a couple of my friends had to run back to my house already and tell my parents. They showed up right away, and after a 15-minute argument, which ended in my parents storming off to the car, taking lots of photos of my cheek, dropping me off at my house after showing me where the first aid kit was, and presumably going to press charges. The best thing about her slapping me, by the way, was guess what? Proof. We had proof. The slap didn't hurt that much, but she had broken the skin on my cheek and scratched it with her long nails, and there was a ton of blood. To cut an already long story short, she was taken to the police and my parents filed charges. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The cat was okay. She had been hit with a pellet, but she survived. And as she was taken to the animal hospital right away, she didn't need to have any surgeries or any serious procedures. She did pass away a year ago, unfortunately, but she was happy all the way up until she passed away. It's crazy that the parent didn't do anything to stop their kid from taking shots at this cat. I mean, I can't imagine any parent realistically letting that happen. I'm kind of sad that the entitled brat got off easy, but I'm so happy that the entitled mom who attacked this kid got exactly what she deserved.
The full version of the video is on the Am I the Jerk YouTube channel, so check out the link in the description for that. And if there are any updates, that's what they'll be too. But if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Am I the Genius is on YouTube, but there's also a podcast version of it just like Am I the Jerk. So if you're already subbed to Am I the Genius on YouTube, just search for Am I the Genius on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you use.